Well, good afternoon. As I said in my last video, which is also within the last day or two, is working on drawers, or I'll be starting on drawers, but I have to get my table saw hooked up as well as get the dust collection in. And so the dust collection stuff has been sitting here for a year, just because it's not an easy thing to hook up. I had a professional company give me the layout plan, and then because it is expensive, it's the Nord duct, and so I didn't buy all of it, so I've got about 3/4 of it that I purchased, and that's what I'll be hooking up. And so I've had the dust collector itself sitting on the wall for a year, just get it out of the way. I actually got it up and running and hooked and put there, but it wasn't hooked up to anything. Okay, so now I'm putting in the dust collection system, which I need to make drawers because I'll be generating a lot of sawdust. So my table saw is going to have to move out here into this area here, so I gotta clean this up. And then my miter saw sits here, and then the dust collector that you guys haven't seen in a long while sits over here in the corner, and run pipe out to the workshop. So the first thing that we did last week, we put this board that goes all the way back to the dust collector at our height of the tube, which is 13 feet 4 inches. And then we've started laying out the tube for that. The first pipe that got put in is this corner right here, because it's the intersection where it comes over to here, and then it goes to the end back to over here, and then it goes back to the dust collector. So, but this was the most important corner to get in because of where it has to meet up. So since this intersection was the first, it has the 7-inch pipe comes up to it from the dust collector, comes over here, and then right here at our first connection, our first Y, it goes from 7-inch to 6-inch at this point. And then over here, it goes from 7-inch, and it transitions the 6-inch right here. Okay, so this morning, so far we've connected the actual dust collector to the 7-inch pipe that wasn't hooked up in the previous video. And we've taken it all the way over to this next joint where we go from 7-inch to 6-inch. And so now we've used all the 7-inch pipes. Now it's 6-inch and below now. Okay, so what I've done now is I've got all the down pipes off of the dust extractors. So we got 1, 2, 3 here. And then over on this wall, I've got one, and I've just stubbed in a second and a third one that I can't run until later. And then over here in the corner, finally got the actual dust collector itself hooked up to the rest of the piping. So that's all working, and so it actually works, and it gets quite and you can hear it, and it's okay. So now I can start doing some work inside now that it's cold, because I've been doing all my sawing and stuff, not all, but most of my sawing and stuff outside. And so just hooking it up for right now so I can see what needs to be adjusted. As an example, here's the output that's going to be used for the miter saw, and it's actually too low, so I'll be moving this up the wall by a couple of feet. That way the line will go right from the 3-inch here over to the 1.5 inch over here on the saw. In addition, right now is I've actually got a floor sweep hooked up to this unit here, this line, and so I'll have to, this line is actually going to be hooked up to one of my sanders, so have to figure out where everything's going to go, and if I need to add a Y right here to have this hooked up, because it's convenient here in the corner, hooked up also with the sander. Okay, so we actually cleaned off the lift, and it's on its wheels so we can move it around here in the garage. And the reason for that is we were able to put a ladder here, an 8-foot ladder, and then lift that ladder all the way up, and we were able to install the air cleaner. So that air cleaner is will clean the air particles out of the air, so we'll get less dust falling on cars and stuff. As I said about the ductwork, I got to figure out where everything sits before I finalize the ductwork. So like the table saw is just sitting here right now, it'll actually be where the lift is at. It'll actually be sitting right about here, and then the lift will move back as we're still unpacking boxes, back about, I calculate 5 feet, and then but it's on wheels, so I can still move it around, but if I move it back 5 feet, I can still put a car in there, a car behind it, and once the boxes are moved, I'll be able to put a car over here. Okay, so you've seen the dust collection system, so I'm anxious to start using it. And as I use it, I'll see what modifications I need to make. And I already know that I wanted to add another drop line on my south wall to add one more piece of equipment or a shared line. So that way I'll have, I think, 4 lines over there versus 3. But anyway, it's really, I was impressed on how much suction there really is on that thing. I mean, it's picking up all sorts of stuff on the floor, and I think it's going to be a great system. So have a good day. Give me a thumbs up, and looking for the next video, starting drawers probably, or maybe putting getting my table saw back together, because when the movers moved it, gee whiz, 3 years ago now, they unbolted everything and didn't mark where they put the bolt. So to get it where it is so far today, I've visited Home Depot 4 times to buy bolts, and I've got to a place where I need some specific bolts that are saw specific.